Mr. Speaker, on today's third day of our emergency sitting, a report by the Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness has been released which provides a tally of 30,000 homeless people in Canada. In Manitoba, we know that there are about 2,000 people who've been out of their homes since 2011 as a result of the government's artificial flooding of Lake St. Martin. The report says no one should be homeless and using emergency services for longer than a few weeks. But the people of Lake St. Martin have been stuck out of their homes for more than 2 years.
That's shameful.
I asked the Premier, by what date will all the people of Lake St. Martin be able to live in their new community?
Thank the member for the question. The tragedy of the flooding in Lake St. Martin has dislocated hundreds of families in that community, Mr. Speaker. Has dislocated hundreds of people from that community, Mr. Speaker, and it has been our objective to get them home in such a way that flooding will not occur again in the future, which has meant we are working with them to acquire more land at a higher level. We built the emergency channel so that the lake was brought down an additional 3 feet in a timely fashion. We are now going to make that channel permanent, Mr. Speaker, as well as an additional channel out of Lake Manitoba, and we are committed to buying the kind of land and making land available through the Crown that will allow them to be on higher ground and never have to go through this experience again, Mr. Speaker. Progress has been slower than all of us want, but indeed progress has been made, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, today the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives released their Poverty or Prosperity report, which states, and I quote, "Canada cannot and need not allow another generation of Indigenous citizens to languish in poverty." In addition to the continuing general situation of high rates of poverty, many homes are without clean running water, and there's poor housing in many communities. The people of the community of Lake St. Martin First Nation have languished for more than 2 years without being able to go home. Will the Premier commit today to ensuring when the people will be able to go home and that they will have good housing and clean running water in all their homes in the new community of Lake St. Martin?
An important part of that question, Mr. Speaker, was the recognition that we need a new Lake St. Martin, and that means that homes are going to have to be built on higher land, of which we have acquired some significant amounts of it from private landowners up there. We have also committed to make Crown land available, and more Crown land than has ever been made available, to ensure that when that community rebuilds, and the process will go ahead, Mr. Speaker, we've got good cooperation. We now have good cooperation from the federal government on this after very senior level interventions at the ministerial and Prime Minister's level. We will build proper homes on higher ground. We will ensure that the lake drains more quickly with the emergency channel being made permanent. The combination of permanent channels and people living on higher ground, we believe, will ensure that people will not have to go through this again. That will take more time than anybody wants, but we want to have a solution that is durable and will not put those people at risk of flooding again, as we have seen in the past, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the Canadian Human Rights Commission released its report on equality rights of Aboriginal people yesterday. The report documents a widespread shortcoming in the housing situation of Aboriginal people in Canada. Manitoba continues to be a laggard instead of a leader in addressing the rights of Aboriginal people, with more than 750 homes still without clean running water. I asked the Premier, when will it be that all the homes in northern Manitoba have clean running water and that all the people have good housing?
Mr. Speaker, our approach to this is very clear. We have seen over 220 homes now be scheduled and are in the process of being equipped with clean water, clean sewer. We're building an east side road that will allow goods and services to get to those communities more rapidly at a lower cost. We are providing nursing stations in communities. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I was in War Lake, where I saw the work that our firefighters did. Every home in that area had a sprinkler on the top of the roof that was providing a halo of moisture to prevent the fires from destroying their homes. That's the service we provide on an airstrip that we built with a nursing home that we helped build with the federal government. So those communities which have been ignored by the members opposite, and I might add, the member himself, when he was a member of the federal government, cut funding to First Nations in northern Manitoba. We're working with them to build roads. We're working with them to build housing. We're working with them for clean water and sewer, and we are there when they need protection from fires. We will be there with them, Mr. Speaker, today, tomorrow, and in the future.